Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. You're very welcome here. And in this channel we discuss all things to do with childhood trauma, family dysfunction, particularly through the lens of the narcissistic family system and its impact upon children and then adults. And of course, you know, as a psychotherapist and hypnotherapist, my whole aim is particularly to assist those that have been through this kind of trauma to really, really deeply heal on the subconscious level. And when I say that, in a nutshell, what we do is we transform the self-image that you took on as a result of those dysfunctions, of those abuses in childhood. So if that's something that you would like to do, please do book in for a free consultation, and I'd be delighted to hear from you. Alongside that, please subscribe if this is your first time here. It really does help to you know, get this knowledge out there. Oh, my earring's just fallen off. Yes, so if you're able to do that, that would be great. Okay, so the topic for today is part 2. Yesterday I did part 1 of the overarching topic, conversations with a narcissistic parent. Yesterday we looked at being made to squirm, how that's a common experience when in conversation with a narcissistic parent or partner, to be honest, anyone narcissistic. And today we're going to look at triangulation. So this is another aspect of the narcissistic way of being in relationship. Triangulation is used in a way to control, belittle, and diminish the person. So we're going to explore that a bit more here. Triangulation actually is at the core of the narcissistic family system. You know, the narcissistic family system, in essence, is triadic. It's parent-focused and it's triadic, so it's based on the creation of triangles in the family system between parent and child, or even external persons. So what is triangulating? Well, in a nutshell, it means bringing in a third party to the conversation, not just for interest's sake or, you know, for concern or anything like that, but as a means of causing pain, of belittling you. So you might want to take a moment and think of yourself in conversation with the narcissistic person in your life, whether that's a parent, a partner, a friend, whoever it may be. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to talk about it from the perspective of a conversation with a narcissistic parent. So here's the scenario. You know, you've been chatting to them for, you know, maybe 5-10 minutes, and they've asked a couple of sort of searching questions that have left you feeling a little bit uncomfortable, especially the one about your work situation and your finances. It's kind of left you feeling a little bit exposed and a bit vulnerable. Maybe you squirmed a bit. It's almost as if they've sort of poked at that tender area, as we were speaking about yesterday. Then suddenly they start talking about somebody else. So for example, your narcissistic mother might say, do you know, I had this wonderful message from Susan. Do you remember that old friend of yours? Well, you know, she I happened to see her in Sainsbury's, and anyway, she was just, you know, sent me a text, and she just wanted to share her success. She's just landed an amazing job. Yeah, she's working for Vogue, you know, and she's met the man of her dreams. So she was, you know, she's planning a holiday, and yeah, she's just really, really happy. So here we have the triangulation. You may have shared about your difficulty in your financial situation, or maybe even not shared about it, but just flinched when the question was asked. That was picked up on, and a third person was brought into the picture so that they could set up this sort of comparison between you and this other person. So instead of, sort of abusing you outright or belittling you openly, they do it covertly. And that can be deniable, which is another key aspect of the narcissistic personality. No, I'm not meaning to make you feel bad. Of course not. I was just sharing with you about Susan. Don't be so sensitive. Oh gosh, sorry. Can't I tell you anything that might be a little bit about anyone's finances then? So there's that triangle. You will have either shared something about yourself, off of your own desire, voluntarily in other words, or in response to their questioning. You have either, given them the information they wanted because of their question, or you may have flinched. So in either of those situations, they'll have gathered that information and then selected who they're going to triangulate you with, how they're going to subtly just dig a little deeper at that original squirm. They covertly compare you to the person they've triangulated you with. And what happens here, they set up an allegiance, or they sort of align themselves in the triangle with one of the other parties. So for example, in this situation with Susan, the narcissistic mother is subtly aligning herself with Susan and making you feel like a bit of a reject, like you don't fit in with the cool kids. Like her and Susan are sort of on the same page. They're, Susan's contacting her. They're in the cool kids club. You're not. They may use it in a different way, though. They may use it to align you with the other person as a form of rejection, and this often happens within the family. So for example, and I'm sure you may have heard these words, oh gosh, you're just like your father. Suddenly your father's been brought into the picture and now you've been aligned with him. So there's another triangulation, but it's a subtle rejection of you and a sort of saying you're not with the cool kids, you're with the losers, the rejects. And they often do a similar sort of triangulation with siblings as well. I'm sure you'll have heard of that sort of tactic where there's a constant sort of setting one sibling up against the other in conversation particularly. So, do you hear about your sister, Margaret? Yeah, she's, isn't it great how she's bought that new car? Gosh, yeah, she's really doing well for herself. It's wonderful. Knowing full well that you've recently not been able to afford a car, or lost it in, I don't know, whatever, it's been stolen or something like that. I don't know. There's another triangulation. It's quite subtle, this, though. You've got to be alert and pick up on it, because often clients will say to me, it was only after the conversation that I came away and thought, oh my goodness, yes, that's why she brought that person in. It wasn't just to, catch up or update on them. It was actually a subtle put down. And that really is at the heart of triangulation. It's either to make you feel less than somebody else, or to align you with somebody that the narcissistic person feels is less than them. So what can we do in this situation? Well, we can always call it out. Nothing to stop you from doing that. However, it may not get the reaction that you're hoping for. Like I alluded to earlier, the narcissistic person might sort of go, "Oh gosh, don't be so, it's deniable, I wasn't meaning that at all, don't, gosh, who do you take me for? Do you really think I'd be so hurtful as that?" So you could call it out, there's nothing to stop you doing that. But you may also want to just put in some boundaries. The next time your mother brings up somebody else and say, "Mum, I prefer to keep the conversation about you and I, because I don't like talking about other people when they're not here." End of. And refuse to do it. And say, "Well, Mum, I'm not going to talk about them, and I'm going to need to put the phone down if you continue." So holding a really firm boundary around this, they will not like it. You may also want to, sort of make sure that the conversations you have with your narcissistic parent are limited in their time, in time length. You need to take charge of the time that you speak to your narcissistic partner, parent, friend. Don't allow it to go on and on, because this sort of thing will start to happen more and more within the one conversation. There'll be many different tactics going on. So it's important to keep those conversations short, so that you're not exposed to hit after subtle hit that you may only notice afterwards. And another important thing is, when we grow up in these families, we tend to take on the traits. So you might want to catch yourself triangulating. It's common. Don't beat yourself up about it. Become more and more aware when you want to go to somebody else to get their opinion on another person, or you want to bring in somebody else to a conversation to make yourself feel a bit better. Just be aware of those things and choose to be different, because that too is breaking that triadic system in which you were familiar and brought up in. Okay, thank you everybody. Please do share your opinions on this or your experience. Thank you so much to all of you who have already been doing that. I do respond to all of the comments. I think that's the luxury I have at this stage of my channel. I haven't got thousands of subscribers, so I am able to get to the comments and share my gratitude with you for them in that way. Okay, I look forward to seeing you for part 3 of this series on conversations with a narcissistic parent. Take care everyone. Bye now.